Hopefully, we are live. It's only just my phone's only just decided to start doing something. I think we're live. Just let us know if you can see and hear us.
Hello.
Hopefully, I won't have any issues tonight with lag. I do now have, as of this week now, an Ethernet cable, so I'm now not relying on solely the Wi-Fi.
Oh, you're doing better than me then. I'm Wi-Fi in the shed. What could go wrong?
So we'll see. My Wi-Fi's been dodgy the past week or so. It keeps cutting out.
Oh, really?
Like a minute here and there. And last week, it's like every couple of minutes. It was. I felt so sorry for Thomas. It was a guest last week because it just kept disappearing. The Wi-Fi just decided to stop working. So it's like, right, need an Ethernet cable definitely. hopefully all will be good. So let's do the. Let's see who we got in chat. We've got hey Craig, hey Greg, hey Amna, hey Trond, hey Susan, hey Steve, hey Amy, hey Lewis, hey Christopher. Oh, and they can all hear us, which is good. Hey Jay, fantastic. So, on the stream. Everyone, we're joined tonight by the wonderful Jamie of Norwich Reptile Shed. Second time on my channel.
Yes.
But I think it was a fair while ago that he was on. Hey, Steve. So for anyone new who perhaps doesn't know who you are and what you do and stuff and what your channel is, do you want to give yourself a quick introduction?
Yeah, definitely. So my name's Jamie. This is the Norwich Reptile Shed. So I kind of built this place 3.5 years ago now. I don't know. It's getting there. And then we started a little YouTube channel, sort of halfway through building it. And now I just kind of do videos on YouTube about sort of building enclosures, trying to build big enclosures, generally sort of following the progression of this place, which is trying to make every enclosure cool, awesome, like, you know, nice big sizes, and a little bit of care stuff thrown in there, and just generally a bit of a mix of everything in terms of reptiles, bit of invert stuff, and quite recently duck stuff. It's been pretty duck heavy. That's kind of what the channel's all about, is pushing our care, trying to get it as good as we can, and also sort of being there to kind of help people along the way as well, you know, showing people how to, you know, make 4-foot vivariums and make your own enclosures and things like that, and just generally trying to do cool stuff with our reptiles.
Hey Scott, hope Leo's okay, man. Stuff there. Caesar's always fairly scary. Hey Philip. So yeah, I think you kind of started at kind of similar times to each other with the whole YouTube sort of thing, and didn't know each other at all.
No, that's it. No, you were going before me, definitely, because I started watching your videos, and it just so happened we live fairly close enough.
Yeah, not far away. And Norwich is an old haunt of mine. I went to college just outside Norwich, at Eastern College, so I know Norwich fairly well.
And it was cool as well at the beginning, wasn't it? We, you know, always commenting, always supporting each other, and yeah, it's cool now. We've sort of grown, you know, fairly straightforward together, like, you know, in a good direction, and yeah, it's awesome, mate. Yeah, 100%. And then obviously hanging out with you at the British Herpetological Society as well, and bits like that. So yeah, definitely, mate. It's been
great. All sorts. I think you first came on my radar. I think it was through Instagram. I think was where I first started seeing, you know, one of these things, you know, suggested, and I was like, oh, Norwich reptiles, yeah, why not? Let's have a look. Thing. And then I was all like, oh no, fair enough, you know, because reptile YouTube, I don't know. But historically, has not had a good reputation amongst a lot of reptile keepers.
No, and especially in the UK, there isn't tons of stuff in the UK either. Yeah, that's and especially stuff maybe like how tos and bits like that, but actually using stuff, trying to aim it towards people that live in the UK, and showing you how to do stuff with stuff that we can go. When I say I'll go to B&Q, it's relatable, and
That's it,
like that.
definitely.
I try to. So I feel like I fill that niche slightly, and it certainly isn't videos of me jumping around, getting bitten by snakes and going mad. So what I like to think of, they're sort of more like reference videos, sort of slow burners, and every now and again someone might see a video about how to build a tortoise enclosure that I filmed 2 years ago, and that's the kind of stuff that I like.
And it's still relevant as well. It's all that sort of stuff's relevant. I was watching videos today when I was doing sort of maintenance stuff on my TV, and I like that. In one of the newer sort of Viv build videos, you said you actually watched your old video to remind yourself how to build the Vivs and stuff.
I was actually looking in. I was in Wicks and I was buying some timber that I use as a plinth for the 6 foot to stand on. And I couldn't remember the size. I couldn't remember the exact size of it, and I ended up watching my video back in Wix, trying to remember the size, because some of these builds are like 2 years old now. Like the Royal enclosure, I started building that before I started the channel, so that thing's getting on for like 2 years. Sometimes I've just got to. It's nice. Yeah, I've basically just reminding myself with my own videos. It's great.
And that's great. It's documenting your channel's very much documenting your journey of your builds and stuff, and how you go on through things over, and then you can look back and be like, oh yeah, that's what it used to be like, and now this is what it's like. And you see that sort of progression, and stuff, which is awesome. And for the people who don't know you, I'd say most of your enclosures, I don't know how many now, but the vast majority are custom built by yourself. Is that right?
It's definitely getting there. The majority are. So there is.
Hey, Darren.
What is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 that I've built so far. And some racking and like stands and shelving and all that kind of stuff to display exoterras and bits like that. But yeah, basically that is what I do. Obviously the main focus is the 6 foot vivariums that, and actually if you look at like the first few videos, you start to see them slowly like appear down the wall. And that's really cool. I like sort of looking back and going, wow, man, that used to look empty in there when you first started. And obviously I had this vision of these nice big enclosures, always going to have these 6 foots there. And it takes time, but they've slowly worked their way along, and it's looking good. I like how it looks now. I'm happy.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm very, very envious of it and stuff. When I used to have sort of the animal shed at my parents, it never looked like that kind of thing. It's like, that is nice. And I think when you said in early videos where you wanted it to be is like if you was going into a zoo type thing almost, and seeing nice setups and the display enclosures and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that was always the idea, is to kind of do like zoo quality enclosures and something that I can stand in here, because I don't really keep reptiles to kind of breed them or anything like that, and most of them are rescues. They're older animals, and they've been used for various things back in the past. Some were from a zoo, some were from like the sanctuary I used to work for, that used to go out every week on talks and bits like that. So my kind of ethos behind everything was to give everything like a cool life, chilled out, and display them nice, and stand in here and actually have my own reptile house, in a zoo. That's what I wanted after years of looking at little vivariums in my room.
Hey, Gemma, and I think you can see just behind you. I mean, what's that straight behind you? Is that your boigers straight behind you?
What, the tall ones?
Yeah.
So there's 3 of them, and they've got my boiger two Boiga Cyneas and a Boiga Cynodon in them. They were actually one of the first ones I built because they're permanent. All the other 6 foots, they could technically come out if I remove the door. But they're built into the room and they've got all the electrics going around them, same as the Royal Vivarium. I always knew I was going to have kind of that and that, but that's another thing. Before I moved to Norwich, I used to tell friends and stuff. I was like, I want to be able to walk into somewhere and like look at my Boigas like face to face. Like, oh, I want them looking down on me. I want, I don't want to look at them in this little vivarium, because they're so comfortable in the trees. I never see them on the floor. So comfortable, just living in the trees, and that's how it is now. If I walk in here in the evening, I can guarantee one of them is just looking you straight in the eye, just like, I'll get you, mate, if that glass wasn't open. The Boiga stuff's cool. The Boiga stuff, I've said this to my wife, but the Boiga stuff is going to be once I've kind of built everything for everyone and everything's good and everyone's settled down and everyone's kind of in a good place, because I do have 3 projects on the go still with the 6 foots and the 4 foot. The Boigas will be stripped out and I'll start again. And I'm actually going to do more rock work, ledges, more planting spaces, and just start again. So once I get to the stage where everything's done, I'm going to start again. Basically, going to just go back round and start again.
I think that's very much a true kind of zookeeper, reptile keeper. Like, you do an invasion, and after a few weeks, you're like, I can do that better.
I can do that better. Oh, yeah, man. I look at these and I'm like, yeah, that background was a bit of a cop-out. I can do that better.
Like, you're happy with it. And then very quickly, like, afterward, I can do that better now. Sort of thing. Ange just actually asked, you recognise the term Boiga, but you can't remember what exactly they are, and he's asked if they're the cat-eyed snakes.
Cat-eyed snakes is a common name for them. So no, not a type of boa. They're a colubrid, and they are known for having those big kind of triangle heads, really long, quite slender snakes. And the Cynea that I've got are bright green, absolutely stunning. When they're actually babies, they're born with what is it, like a pinkish head. And they actually change colour as they get older. It's nuts. They're absolutely nuts. And the Cynodon is another completely amazing kettle of fish. That's just got this beautiful dog tooth pattern down it, and is like she's like, what is she? She's probably pushing sort of 6 foot long, but sits in a coconut hide like that. So they're just long noodles. They're crazy looking snakes. Yeah.
Hey, Shady. Boiga. I've never worked or kept Boiga, but they are absolutely stunning.
They're brilliant. They're really cool. I mean, I wouldn't say they're particularly good zoo animal. They don't, you never see them in there. Actually, since I've installed the new UVB, the UVB fittings, I actually noticed them basking in that more in that particular area there than they used to. Which is pretty mad because up till recently I didn't have UV. These were the last 3 to get upgraded to having little UVB kits in them, and so I did all 3 of them. And I've noticed definitely with one of the Cynea, definitely basks differently than it ever used to. Coincidence or not, I don't know, but it's a positive change.
Yeah, I think most of us see that over the years as we've added UV light to snakes, have seen behavior changes and seen even seen our snakes more active, out and about, more cryptically basking, more actively basking and stuff, and it kind of just throws out the old myth about snakes not needing UV or not wanting UV kind of thing. Yeah, it's like, well, why do they seek it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and you find out with them all. And stuff, I certainly any snake I've put under UV, it's been like, set it underneath. And same with nocturnal geckos, stick UV over them, they'll be sitting under it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, at least stick a bit of them out. Yeah,
Yeah,
a bit
yeah.
creepy.
Even if it's, you know, say from like a aggressive gecko, even if it's just a toe.
Yeah,
I'll stick a toe out there. They're gonna get some exposure there.
Mm.
So, as on the boy, Anton's asked, did they only eat snails?
No, not at all. So they mainly eat poultry. So in the wild, they find them around like poultry farms and stuff, nicking the chicks. But in captivity, we sort of offer them everything. I genuinely stick to the day-old chicks more than anything with these guys. But they can take mice. I've never fed rats, but they could eat a small rat. But yeah, I generally stick to chicks. That's a tough one. Yeah.
So, well, wasn't talk about what you do keep. So you got the three boygers. What other species have you got? Both reptile and non-reptile, because you've got stuff outside as well.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. So sticking with the reptiles and make it easy to start with, we've got 2 northern pine snakes, which are awesome. Mr. Pine, he's my man in here. He's really cool. And I used to have a female years ago, bred them, and a friend gave one of the babies back to me recently. So I've got his daughter in here, she's earmarked for one of them 6 foots. So she's one of the smaller of the giant colubrids that I've got currently. So she's earmarked for the 6 foot once I've built that. So 2 northern pine snakes, 2 false water cobras. I've got a pair of false water cobras. And I've got one of their babies as well. I've also got another baby Cynea that I kept as well. So I did breed them a few years ago, and I've got the baby still, and that lives in our lounge, actually, in a display in the lounge. And then what else we got over there? Black rat snake in the shed enclosure, or the barn enclosure. That's pretty cool. I do like that one. That's it's much kind of a different looking enclosure. 2 royal pythons living in the 6 foot tall corner wedge shaped thing. I've got videos all about that, and I'm doing some really cool stuff with reptiles and research, actually, with their deep dive. So that's going to be interesting, where we kind of monitor how much time and space they use inside when given, like a 6 foot tall vivarium and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting. Nice. And then I've got I've got a little rescue corn snake, a little hognose, a couple of leopard geckos that I took from Sea Life Centre when I was working at the Sea Life Centre, and then invert white. Oh, and I've got a crocodile skink, a muddy eye crocodile skink as well, the Nova Guinea, which is awesome. He's a bit of a star on shorts, because he actually comes out and hand feeds off of tongs, which makes for good YouTube shorts. So that's a good one. And then going into the invert side of things, I've actually added a couple of tarantulas. So someone's given me some tarantulas, which I haven't had in the shed ever, potentially. I don't think I have, no. So I've got like a big display of white spotted assassin bugs, which is cool. Got them in a 60 tall Exoterra, and they're doing great. That's so cool, so fun to watch. They just do like half a box of adult crickets and small crickets once a week. Just pour it in there, and it's just carnage.
Yeah. They're really fun to defeat our assassins.
Yeah, definitely. But I'll tell you what eats the assassin bugs. And I've got an assassin bug assassin in the shed, and they are constantly fighting me, and that is jumping spiders. So native UK jumping spiders. Yeah, they eat. No, so the little native UK ones eat the nymphs of the assassin bugs. So if they get in my vivariums, which for somehow they do, the nymphs can't get out, but the jumping spiders can get in. And I will once a month, maybe, I will see one eating a nymph, and I lose my mind, because I'm like, no, you cannot eat them. And why haven't the adults eaten it?
You can guarantee that the jumping spider is just looking at you, going, "Yeah, what are you going to do about it?"
Well, yeah, normally they get taken out, but yeah. But yeah, if I just didn't do anything, because I do get quite a lot of little jumping spiders in here, they're fun, they're great. I love them everywhere, except in the assassin bug tank. But yeah, they are nuts. So, but yeah, and then I've got what else have I got? A couple of scorpions, the Peter's Eye and the Spinnifer.
Oh, you say Peter's Eye? Do you mean Silenus?
Probably. Yes, I do. Yep. And what else have we got? Carabiner Versicolor. I was given a Carabiner Versicolor. So that's quite cool. Desert Hairy Scorpion, the Arizonis, and the what is over there? Blue Leg Centipede. I've had that for years and years and years. I could keep forgetting. But yeah, I think that kind of covers it. A couple of crested geckos, Standings day gecko, lined day gecko, and a milk frog.
You said especially with the reptile sort of thing, and even with some of the inverts now, a lot of it's kind of rehomed stuff or rescued stuff, and not necessarily stuff that you've gone out and bought.
No. So the Northern Pines are both Northern Pines are rescues. The False Water Cobras were given to me from someone who couldn't have them in their collection anymore. One of the Royal Pythons is a rescue. What else? The black rat snake is one of the first snakes I ever purchased when I was a kid. So that was a purchase. And also, what we got? The Cyanea rescues. They come from the animal sanctuary that I used to manage. And the Cynodon, I actually purchased for £20. And that was a get it out the shop because you're about to kill it. And I don't normally endorse that. But for £20, that wasn't paying for another shipment of them, that's for sure. And I saved its life because it was about to die, and actually the other one that was with it died. So yeah, and now I've got this, this giant 6 foot long, awesome snake. So yeah, quite a lot of also the crested geckos as well. They were given to me. So yeah, quite a lot of waifs and strays, and that's without even starting to talk about the ducks. They've been the bane of my life for 3 weeks.
So you got 2 pairs of ducks. You've got
2 pairs, yeah. It started with 3, and they were sort of week-old ducklings found down a drain outside my mum and dad's house. My mum and dad live just under an hour away from here, so we popped over there. Took them in, and they were covered in like a J's fluid, like this disinfectant, this nasty, horrible stuff that people use on their driveways just to kill everything. And they were covered in that, and we ended up taking them to our vets. We've got like an exotic vet up here that we trust with everything. And they were in the vets for like 3 days on oxygen and everything. We were giving them tons of meds and bits, and we ham reared them. And as they started to grow, they turned into two mallards, two drakes and a hen. We knew they were mallards, but they grew into 2 males and a girl, which is the worst combination you could ask for 3 ducks. And they just started fighting over their sister. So we went to another animal sanctuary down the road, and we ended up taking on another female. And we thought, us and the animal sanctuary sort of agreed, we'll put them all together, see what happens. Hopefully they'll pair off and they'll split up. And that didn't work. And in classic us style, we're not going to give that duck back. So so now we've got 2 runs. They're both 5 meters long, 2 ponds, filter systems. I used to have I built filter systems for them, and it has been, I'll tell you what, if anyone says like, have some ducks, I wouldn't recommend them as pets, especially just like mallards and stuff. Maybe other species, but I know my mum and dad have got Peking ducks, and they're as bad. But yeah, they are horrendous to try, and it's just carnage out there. It's it's nuts. But this is like, I've just finished building their run version 2. So they used to have these 4-foot tall hut runs that was easy to get into. Kind of, you just reach in there, put the food in there. Then we extended them to put bigger ponds in there, and it started to look really bad. It was all added bits to it, and then we decided after building them, they should have a bit of a roof section. So that got added on, and it started to look really bad. So we've torn the whole lot down and started again with proper. After 3 years of keeping them, just working out exactly how to make it as easy for us and for them as possible. And, and I actually think one of them, I don't know if you saw the photo, it does look a bit like, I've basically made like some sort of animal enclosure out there that's worthy of a small petting zoo, I'd say.
Yeah, I watched a video today. I was like, I need to catch up on your videos. So I had on the TV running whilst I was doing like my tarantulas and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I can see that in that being an enclosure in a small zoo.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
It's worked out that way
and stuff. But as JS was by looking ducks are poo machines, never again. Sort of thing. Ducks certainly.
To me, it's less of the poo and it's more of the fact that they just churn up mud, and they'll just the minute there's some rain, they're straight in with their beaks, digging up everything they can find, the seeds, and then they pick these lumps of mud up, and then they go over to their ponds and they dump it in the pond. So every week I'd be out there just scooping out a bucket of mud and pouring it back out into the run. So that's stuff like that has changed the way I keep things, because I put all big rocks around it, and it's a challenge, but it's fun. Why not? Keeps you busy.
It's all part of the process, isn't it? And, yeah, Jones is probably the only waterfowl he'd have now is red-breasted geese and mandarin ducks, which both are very nice species.
I'm sure they are. Yeah. Do you find them down drains though? That's the only way we get our ducks.
we occasionally here at the park. Every year we have a mandarin that just turns up. Not
really?
A mandarin, but he just turns up. He thinks he's a mallard. It's like, you're not a mallard, dude. You're much better. I don't think. The Chinese thought, ducks are cute and fun, but they make such a mess.
Yep. Yeah, 100% agree with that. Yeah, when we actually put the runs in after because we had them in our spare bedroom while they were ducklings, and we were like rearing them and stuff. Then we housed them outside, and we put the runs. You can see photos going back. I put the runs on pristine lawn. Like, it was lovely. It was all lush. Everything was fine. There was a wildflower bed, and that is now just a brown square of dirt. And it took them, months to do that. Not very long at all, and it's just gone. Yeah.
So, hey, Matt's asked, do they cost much to keep, and what's the monthly bill of the ducks?
of the ducks.
Yeah, hashtag sorry duck puns, or not sorry duck puns.
I'd say the ducks ain't too bad, to be honest. I mean, apart from building runs and stuff, it's been a pricey month for timber and bits, but I don't run any like heating, lighting, even a filter system at the moment. So it is just a bag of food for them, which is like, I think I pay £19 for a sack of pellets once a month, maybe. Not even that at the moment. While they're laying eggs, they actually don't eat as much. So leading up, they would scoff as much as they can, and now they've really kind of they don't eat as much food. So they're actually really cheap to keep in terms of buying food and bits like that. But not if you want to have a nice pristine lawn and stuff. You'll spend all your money on a lawn, grass seed, stuff like that, flowers.
Whereas the shed, I imagine, costs quite a lot of money in terms of the bills on that one.
The shed isn't great. So I did a video, I think, saying it was basically cost. How much did I say it was costing me? I think towards winter, at the real height of having to heat this place, and the reptiles none of the animals were in brumation. We were definitely pushing £500 a month. And that is for the bungalow as well, but it is just me and my wife in the bungalows, so it's not, we're not particularly heavy on stuff in the bungalow. But the reptile room definitely costs a few hundred pounds a month, I'd say. And I did work out the wattage of everything, and it didn't really make sense to what I was actually getting charged. So yeah, it is a few £100 definitely. But the brumation made a big difference to that. Obviously, I did have quite a lot of vivariums turned off this year from brumation, and I kept them all in the loft in our bungalow. And I actually had to put a heater up there because it was getting too cold. So I was still heating them, but just with a single heater, and then just running this lot. And I've just got a 400-watt radiator out here on a Wi-Fi thermostat, so I know the temperature out here. But yeah, it was still costing quite a few £100 to keep this place running. But I'd hate to know what it would be like during the winter if all these vivariums were up and running as well. Yeah, it's not cheap. No. I didn't know this like 3 years ago. It wasn't like this.
No. All these hydrogen bulbs, they cost a bomb. Sort of
yeah. And it's all like the UV fittings, and because all of my 6 foots, pretty much standard have a up to maybe a 60-watt or 75-watt lamp in there. A 24-watt UV, a 24-watt LED lamp in there. So yeah, it is, and that's obviously then times quite a few. Yeah, so it is getting to the point now where it's out here. It's like, I've got a plant light. I could put that above. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that at the moment. I'm not going to plug that in. So yeah, it is tough. Definitely, it's definitely tough. At no point have I considered not doing it, but I'm lucky, I suppose, that I can pump all my money into it because these are our babies and this is our family, and but yeah, it isn't cheap.
So Anton's asked, is there anything that you would, I suppose, if anything that you'd like to get, because you don't necessarily have a list of reptiles you tend to think, I want to get that. That's not your sort of style at all.
No, it's not, is it? So what I'm focused on really is improving the lives of the ones that I've currently got in here. And once that's done, it is kind of a one in, one out situation, because every square foot in here is pretty much earmarked in terms of what vivariums and what size vivariums I can put in there for the animals that I've currently got. I've kind of don't think like that. I don't, in terms of adding another a reptile. But if I could add another reptile, that's a different question, isn't it? So, and there is a square, like a nice space in the garden that would be perfect for a rescue tortoise from the Norfolk Tortoise Club, So I do look at that every now and again and think, I could put a rehomed like male in there that that they can't find a home for, but yeah, currently I don't have any plans. Don't know. I do love boigas though, so if a mangrove fell on my lap, would I give it away? Probably not.
So they announced what those electric radiators be killing the bills. So hey, well,
everything.
Yep. Certainly, like for my side, and I've only got inverts up here, but some of them have really just LED lights on. There's only the Blue Death Vane bills have a halogen lamp over them, and even then, like, because of the as the prices have gone up, I've kind of lessened the amount of hours that the lights are on.
Yeah,
I think it's like, well, these guys don't really. A lot of it's either plant lights or just lights for me to have, just to display them. So it's like, well, even though they're just LEDs, I'll just lessen the amount.
Definitely, and the LED stuff isn't amazing when you've got like these big drivers and stuff. It still isn't. You still are using power. The actual light itself might be like not a lot of wattage, but yeah, like a jungle dawn stuff. They're red hot. They're using power. They're using the heat. They're making heat. Sorry, but yeah, I think that's the way it's all gone. To be honest with you, and we touched on stuff last year. I don't know if me and you spoke about it, but I certainly spoke about it on another podcast. Was maybe this kind of way? Obviously, the UK, potentially the electricity bills are going down. That's what I've heard. But I wouldn't. They're supposed to be, but do we believe that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But is this going to maybe push a little bit more, keeping like snakes that are like more European species or even like cooler climate species?
Came up at conference the other weekend.
They did. They mentioned it. Yeah, and I'm taking stuff, having stuff outside.
Temperate species that we could be can keep and stuff that that could help with the bills because we've already got the temperatures that they need. Yeah, definitely. And rather than trying to recreate Australia in a wooden box for being a dragon, that saps a hell of a lot of energy for being a dragon, but actually we could keep something from Europe or from the Middle East that's a bit more north and stuff.
Yeah,
a lot easier potentially.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe it will push. Maybe it will. I mean, it's too late for me, obviously. But I don't think I keep that many sort of really hot animals. I've obviously got the bearded dragon, and he is my kind of hottest animal. And the royal pythons use quite a lot of electricity, but it's quite it kind of what's the best way to put it? Like, I'm happy to spend that money on the royal python vivarium because of what it's doing for royal pythons and what it's doing for me, because I'm standing in front of this thing looking at it and it's awesome. And it never sort of doesn't really cross my mind with that one that I'm like, well, them heat lamps aren't on a stat because it's 5 foot wide, 6 foot tall. I've dialed the heat lamps in, and the light in that thing, everything's big. I've got the biggest UVB fitting you can put in there, and the biggest, one of the biggest sort of LED battens in there, and bits like that. But it's worth it on that one, definitely.
That's it. I mean, and on some of it, a bit like you'd never sell on States, whatever the costs, don't have money to eat it in off, so be it. And I think any true animal keeper will go, well, I'd rather, buy a bit of cheaper food for myself, or I won't go out, on these weekends or whatever, and go out drinking and splashing money just on alcohol or whatever.
That's it. Yeah.
Because I'd rather spend my money on this animal to make sure it's got the correct heating or the correct lighting or whatever.
That's completely it. I mean, me and my wife pretty much both have that opinion on, my wife looks after the 4 cats that we've got, and feeds them and pays for that. And I pay for kind of the shed stuff. And my biggest kind of thing is maybe buying a tool here and there, but day to day, I don't really buy anything for myself anymore. And it all just, goes on that bill. Once I know the electricity bills come out and the animals have been fed, then you can see what you've got left. But it's definitely a different it's a different life. Definitely, the last what's it been, like 6 months or something? It's definitely been a different way of life. But yeah, like you say, the animals are family. They come first. So just got to keep paying it until you until you can't, I suppose. Don't know.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's keeping in mind of like what your own boundaries are, or what you can cope with yourself and stuff. As I do see sometimes, too many people, both reptile and invert worlds and stuff, where they'll get too many animals in a quick succession and then get overwhelmed with it all and get burnt out with it. And stuff, and suddenly it's become a hoarding situation, whether it be 5 animals or whether it be 500 animals.
Yeah,
and we get completely over the heads from it.
Yeah.
Stuff. Whereas again, with your channels, it's you know, again, you see sort of that YouTube trap as well sometimes of constantly, you know, new animal, and your channel, there's there's hardly any of that, and it's always, if there is a new animal, it's these have just been given to us because someone can look after it. Or kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever done a. I think I've done one video where it was like, here's a new animal. It's a 15-year-old bearded dragon.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, it's been a couple of inverts that I've been given, which, to be honest, in here, kind of don't even touch the like, you know, they don't even touch the surface of the problems. But yeah, that's what that is. How am I going to word that? That's just not what this channel's about. And you won't, and you'll very rarely see maybe like a big room tour and 800 animals and blah 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 and all this sort of stuff. It's mainly just you know, how to build this, and let's carry on building this, and let's build a background, and yeah, so yeah, definitely, yeah, and that's probably why they, you know, don't have like 1,000, 10,000 followers, because, you know, I'm not constantly adding snakes and doing tours and stuff like that. But I'm happy with it. I'm happy with what it's all about.
And that's the main thing is, again, with doing a channel, is that you want to be happy with it yourself and stuff, which is awesome. And yeah, and aware of the very sort of kind of American traps kind of thing, as they tend to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think again, it's what kind of goes, you know, in favour of your channel, the fact that it is a lot of very useful stuff of, you know, how to build an enclosure, how to waterproof an enclosure, how to do this, that, the other. And there's I think that you've only ever done one potentially sort of clickbaity title.
Which one was that?
With Royals. I can't remember exactly what the title was, but it was when you said about the fact that you were cohabbing too. And I think
yeah, that was good, that one. Yeah. That was that was my worst kept secret when I kept.
That was it.
Because if you look at all the videos about the Royal Pythons, they change colour. Hector, my male, he's completely different shade of brown than Priscilla. And at some points, there's just 2 snakes in there, and I'm just saying there's one, and I you know, yeah, that was my clickbaity one. Yeah, I even did a sad pose in front of it. I think. Head in the hand.
It was on like, I've been lying to you or whatever. And I'm sort of like, what's Jamie on about? And I was like, I know what he's on about. Stuff.
But I wanted, in all seriousness, I needed that amount of time, and I didn't have any backlash from that whatsoever.
I was whether you had, you know, whether because, you know, we both know, especially the social media world of any animal thing, but you go, I'm cohabbing this, chances are you're going to get ripped apart by people. And so, and be like, you can't do this, you can't do that, and not know that one, you've done the research and you've been working with reptiles for years. And so you come from a zoo, you know, you've been a zookeeper before and stuff with reptiles. So it's not like you're just going, I'm just going to chuck them together and see what happens.
Yeah, I didn't just go to the shop and buy 2 and throw them in a vivarium. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, no, and I didn't have any backlash, but I had. That's why I kept it a really bad secret for, what was it, 10 months, I think.
It was like 9 to 10 months, wasn't it? Something
9
like
to 10 months. And if any, because what I like to do on this channel is not lie. And I don't want to give people false information. It's all about the opposite. It's all about trying to improve our care. And I'm not saying I know any, like, you know, I know how to do that. I just try and pass what I learn on to people. And I wouldn't, if during those 9 or 10 months of those snakes, if, you know, I was watching them, sitting in bed, watching them on my phone with night vision cameras and my Ring camera that I just checked in all day and stuff like that. And if there was anything bad, I wouldn't have made a video. They would have come back out, and no one would have ever known it happened. And I would have, you know, but the fact that I had such a positive result from it, and I knew I would, but I wanted to make sure that it was going to be okay before I then, you know, told a few people on YouTube.
good at it, you know, and we see it all the time in like various Facebook groups and stuff. Like I pretty much never post in them, but I'm a member of a lot of them and stuff. So you post anything like that, and you just sometimes get hammered with people that
I got hammered while building it. That was the time that I got hammered for it, and it was a mixture of that, and then also saying your snake's going to die because it's got 6 foot of climbing space. That was one.
Disregarding the fact that they're found, especially males, are found in trees in the wild.
Yep. And my female spends well over 75% of her time off the ground. And I know what you're saying. That's because the heat's up there. No, it's not. I've got a heat lamp on the floor as well. So I tried to cover as many bases as I possibly could. It is a very, like, you know, if you just put a roof on it at 2 foot tall, it would be a 5 by 3 foot vivarium with a heat spot in exactly where you'd put that on a 5 foot wide vivarium. So that was always the plan for that. And I was still getting people going, it's not going to work. You're doing it wrong. And yeah, but oh well. I mean, we're well over a year now, and nothing bad has happened. It's been fine. It's been great.
And other people, you know, I know Jim's Reptile Jungle. He has a 6 foot tall raw python enclosure as well. He says himself, his is not as aesthetically pleasing as yours, sort of thing, but it's functional. And the thing where you've done all the rock work and stuff, and how are plants doing in it? Because I know they were bashing the plants a fair bit.
Actually, I've so I'm now on. I don't know what version of plants we're on currently, but I've discovered a few species of Epipremnum, which is the same genus as our standard Pothos. And I can't remember. Oh man, have I got it anywhere else? I can't remember the actual one that it is. Oh man, that's going to bug me. I'll think of that. I'll think of that a bit later. But that currently is indestructible, and that has got a royal python at the moment sitting on the pot that it's in, and it hasn't. It's not given up. It's not given up. But because it's in the same, you know, because I'm going for that kind of species of Pothos, if you know, if I miss watering them a bit, and they're up high and, you know, they drain and stuff, then they're surviving. That's what I've found. I still haven't put Pothos in there. Dead against that. Dead against that. And what else have I got in there? The mini Monstera, which it's not actually a Monstera. It's the Rhodophind. I can't remember what it's called, but it looks like a mini cheese plant. It's called a mini Monstera. That's doing really well, but again, same kind of thing. Can dry out, can tolerate getting bits, you know, cracked off of it, and it won't die. And the aquatica, what is that? The Pachira aquatica. That seems to be doing okay. I overwatered it, but it's recovered. So yeah, it's still not lush. I always planned on it to be this lush 6 foot. And you're just not going to do that with that kind of heat in there. It's just too. It seems to just be too hot in there, and that coupled with snakes climbing on them and breaking them, it's just Maybe one year I'll find the right balance, but currently it's still a work in progress.
That's it. Night, Amy. So they just asked, "Hey, Jamie, remember her? She's just the bug."
I remember you. I do.
As I was quite important. With the Royals, do they not try and pair with each other, or the male annoy the female constantly?
No. So they might have paired. I can't say they haven't, but there is definitely no. Well, I could say they haven't when she hasn't laid any eggs. She's potentially gravid, but he doesn't pester her. It's crazy to see, but they quite often sit opposite sides of the vivarium. They don't really have. He never tries to try it on. He's never pestering her. He's never in her space. Occasionally, I've seen them coiled up together on the same ledge, and it's just peaceful. It's absolutely I don't know if you remember that the Dave Kaufman video where he did film them in that kind of temple bit, and they're all kind of sitting there all together. If you made it that far through the video,
I don't think I did. I think I
no,
clicked on and I was like, "What is this? What is this?"
yeah, I know, yeah, but they do. So they,
yeah,
but they were all kind of sitting there, fairly chilled out in that video, and that's what they're doing. There is nothing like that. The male climbs about 100%. The male climbs around a lot more than the female, but he's not after her. He's just climbing about. That's from what I can gather. He's just climbing about, yeah, he's never chasing her around. And I've even sort of done like fed them both at the same time, opposite ends of the enclosure. Just to see what they're like with food aggression, anything like that, or not food aggression, but once they're eating, does the other one, if the other one finishes before that, does that one try and come over and try and take that food? That'd be interesting to know if that would happen. And it doesn't. It doesn't even do that. Like they couldn't be more like. I'm almost sounding like I don't even believe myself how perfect it's been. But yeah, hand on heart, it's been absolutely a positive thing to happen in there. Yeah, really, really good.
And the thing is, that all comes down to one, a lot of planning, two, a decent size enclosure. Like you perhaps couldn't do that in a 5x2 or 5x3x3 or something. May not be enough space to do something like that.
Yeah,
and that's where then you're potentially going to get problems, sort of thing. And and even down to species choice as well. They just thought that their retics are the same, so they recently basically rescued a pair of retics from a bad place.
Yeah.
So they're now in quarantine.
Yeah.
So I just thought his problem with cabin is mostly the fact that people don't know what they're doing and get the babies. Well, that's the thing. The problem is that cohabiting's not for everyone.
No.
I think you'd be the first one to say that, James. Like
100%, 100%.
And everyone give this a go.
No.
That is where the problems happen.
Yeah, and I think I've mentioned it. I definitely covered it in the video where I actually said, I've got 2 in there, and I made it very clear that this shouldn't be done in a normal size vivarium. I always had a backup vivarium. And I didn't get them 2 snakes to put in there. Obviously, they were 2 separate vivariums and all that stuff. So if anything went wrong, one of them would have come out, one of them would have stayed in there. And yeah, it all boils down to me. It boiled down to the amount of space I gave them. So if I don't know if Anton knows, the actual vivarium itself is 5 foot wide. It's 6 foot tall. It's 3 foot deep on one side and it's 2.5 foot deep on the other side. So when I was building it, I could actually get 4 of my friends to stand inside it before I did the rock work and bits like that. So it's a monster, and it's what most people would give, some monitor lizards. It's bigger than what people give some monitor lizards. And then it's completely kitted out with multiple basking spots, multiple ledges, hiding places at different heights, hiding places that that help with their thermal, that help with their thermal gradient in terms of, I have hot spots, cold spots, and hides all over them. So yeah, 100% didn't just build an empty box and just throw 2 snakes in there and see what happened. And that I can see where Anton's problem with people that maybe don't know what they're doing. And I'm not saying I know what I'm doing, but I had multiple backup plans and a lot of research and a lot of effort went into actually building that enclosure specifically for them to. Yeah, that's how it worked. But I don't tell people to do that. If you had a 5x2 or a 4x2, the last thing I would do was say, "Oh, you should put another royal in there."
Yeah, definitely, and that's it. It's that thing of going from the average keeper, beginner to average keeper, perhaps won't have the space to do something like that, or even the willingness to do something like that and have those backup plans and know just how much goes into doing something like that. So in in zoos we do mixed species enclosures quite a lot and stuff, but there's a lot of planning and then goes into that mixed species enclosure and stuff, and there's always then those backup plans of, you know, this could go wrong. It could go wrong straight away. It could go wrong in 5 years' time. It could go wrong and stuff, and having those backup plans for it. I mean, very recently, Paradise just down the road, they've just, you know, not reptile related, but they've just done a mixed species enclosure of Asian short-clawed otters, binturong, and sun bears.
Oh wow, yeah. I know Colchester Zoo do the otters and the binturong, don't they? But adding a sun bear is interesting.
So it's all like, because one of our otters has gone there into that enclosure, and we're all like, well, you know, pray for the sun bears because the short-clawed otters are probably going to annoy them.
Are they doing is it Chester Zoo where they have the otters in with the orangutans, don't they? Yeah. And they're constantly like nicking cloths and stuff. Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah.
It's always the thing of grabbing any kind of animal. Just the the private sort of hobbies and stuff. You're always going to be people that are very much no. And there needs to be an element of don't cohabit before people just getting into it of, you don't want someone just getting an animal and then going, oh, whether it be a raw python, be the dragon, let it go, whatever, going, I'm going to shove two together because it's most probably going to go wrong.
Yep, definitely.
and injured animals or worst case, you're going to get an animal killing an animal.
Yeah, 100%. And then that, that boils down to, although going back to my royals, obviously I planned that enclosure with the multiple stuff and the hides and the lighting and all that sort of stuff. But I still watched them, day in, day out, laying in bed, watching them on my phone, on a camera. And you've got to do that kind of stuff to know if there's any problems, especially with a pet reptile. It's not like you sit there watching it 24 hours a day. So I had to. Again,
there's a lot of people that wouldn't put night vision.
Yeah, exactly.
Cameras up there, anything to be able to watch them 24/7.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of people that would just see them for the however hour or so a day or whatever and go, yeah, they're fine, and that's it.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
We can't do anything from that.
Yeah, that's it. So, and that's why I did. I'm not saying I sat in bed every night watching them for 9 months, but certainly I was 99% sure everything was going fine at all times. So, but it's worked out to be great. And I'll be honest with you, I've forgotten about the royal stuff because I haven't filmed anything about royals for ages. So we've kind of moved on from that. Really, in the shed, it's like that's over and done with. What's next?
I think now starting to see, especially in the zoo industry, a lot of really cool looking mixed species enclosures when it comes to reptiles. At J Manor, they've got the emerald tree boa with poison dart frogs and yellow-headed geckos all in one enclosure, which was cool because especially from public sort of view, an emerald tree boa for a reptile person is like, top tier snake. Yeah. Like that's stunning. Obviously, for general public, it's a snake that's sat still doing nothing. And then suddenly they see frogs and they see geckos running around. It's like, oh my god, there's all this activity going. Me and Leah were watching that enclosure for ages.
Oh, that was a really good one. That one. Yeah.
And then recently, I got invited to Stratford Butterfly Farm to film the opening of their new enclosures, their reptile realm area. And again, they've actually got emerald tree boa with dart frogs as well, and it looks so nice because there's then always stuff going on.
Yeah,
and stuff as well.
Yeah, so. That's really good. And I really like that video of the of that new caiman enclosure. I thought that was wicked. I thought that was amazing. That was a really nice to do that cave like that with the rock work all above it and the opening with the waterfall. That was awesome, and I really liked. Probably one of the most boring bits, but I really enjoyed that. Just like under the water, there was quite a low level rock that it could kind of just move along, and it just adds this this awesome element that they can, it's not just a pool with just like they just slide into it and it's just deep or something. I thought that was really thought out and that was really well done. Yeah,
it's a very, very nice enclosure that they've done for it. It's it's a spectacle caiman in there it's one that they've taken on from private that is potentially stunted because it's quite a small spectacle and it's like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And it's a small spectacle. They originally wanted Cuviers, but couldn't get hold of Cuviers. So, but yeah, it's all done as a Mexican cenote and stuff. But it's like it's so visually impacting when you, as a visitor, going and seeing that. It's like it's so nice. And then got really good filtration system. Which they took. Well, me and Steve got to go behind the scenes and see the filter room, and there was 35 grand's worth of filter equipment.
Really? Wow. Was it full glass in front?
Yeah.
No,
and then like a bubble to the side to see the land area that you can stick your head right into. Does it almost feel like you was in the enclosure?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And stuff, and then and then behind the scenes area where they could bring the caiman into, so that they can lock the caiman behind the scenes to go into the enclosure and stuff, and do all that. And it's just super nice.
Yeah, that's wicked. Yeah, we would definitely have to head on down there and have a look. Definitely.
And then they've got some nice rep. I mean, they've got giant Malagasy chameleon on display, which I've never seen one of those on display somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Because at first I thought it was really, really annoyed Yemens at first. Because it was oh no, it's a different species. It's meant to look like that. It's like giant Madagascar. I was like, I mean, it's huge as well. I was like, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then then they got some basilisks as well. Some young basilisks. So they've got some nice stuff in there.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
So Angel said he runs CCTV on his when he breeds GTPs.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Leah had a cabin enclosure of African species with inverts, worked amazingly until the cockroaches began to escape and the population exploded.
Oh yeah. So I've actually got millipedes in the Royal Vivarium. You sold them to me, didn't you? We've got
some of my own captive-bred millipedes in there.
Yeah, the olive ones, and they've since bred as well. So so I've got babies of them lurking around, and I've sort of potted up a few as well, just for me, just to see them, because obviously in there you have to, every time you lift the water bowl, you might see just one little baby in there, which is awesome. But I'm sure there's tons under the, there's like a 3-foot log in there, like a root ball and stuff, and I'm sure it's just mad under there with stuff. I've never put cockroaches in there. I'm not going to put cockroaches in there.
Depending on the species, go everywhere.
No. The only addition that I keep saying that I was going to do, and I haven't done it yet, was I was going to put a few male of the Pachnoda in there. I didn't want them to go nuts, and I didn't want the soil to just be full of grubs.
Because they just eat the roots of your plants.
Exactly, yeah. So I was just going to put a few males in there, but I haven't got round to it, and I've just got a big bin full of them just for grub purposes. Haven't got round to that, but praying for no ants this year. That's my biggest thing. Ruined it.
I forgot you had that issue because they came in through the tortoise door, didn't they, or something? And then
so it's before I put the glass on, wasn't it? So I had it all planted up with all allocations, and it was looking great. And I hadn't got around to adding the glass and just finalising it ready for animals to go in there. And it was full of soil. I mean, there's I don't know how much soil was in there. 5 foot wide, foot deep. Is massive. Overnight an ant's nest just appeared, and it was mad. It was absolutely mad, and the only thing I could do was just strip the whole thing out. I was devastated. But now I've the glass is sealed all the way down the edges. Every single edge is sealed. Hashtag no ants this year. I didn't have any last year either, so that's a good sign.
So yeah, hopefully, at least no non-intended ants, at least, because
No, definitely. Yeah.
so, yes, the rhino rat snake. The rhino rat snakes were awesome there. I'm now on the lookout for rhino rat snakes for my work
Oh, really?
stuff. Yeah, just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Nice, nice. I did used to have a Baroni, Philodrys
Okay.
Baroni when I was younger, which obviously isn't a rat, a rhino rat, but that still had that long nose. They're awesome looking. Them and red tail racers, they were almost my
Oh, red
favourite
tails.
snakes. Mm,
Red tails are nice looking as well. Yeah.
mm.
So, I mean, it's good. Well, for my work, we've only got the one snake, which is a carpet python, and the rhino rat snake was fairly active. All that they had one adult on display and a couple of juveniles on display, and like they're all like fairly active, which is nice to see sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the same with red tail racers. They tend to be fairly active snakes as
Yeah,
well.
they do. I always remember seeing them in, I think it was Bristol Zoo, and they had this kind of like floor to ceiling enclosure, and it was busy in there. There was a lot of movement from the snakes. I've only, what else have I seen like that? There was a mamba enclosure at London Zoo that was active like that with the mamba running round. But yeah, that was cool. That was cool. But that kind of species though, I don't know how it'd make me feel not giving it like half the shed, if seeing it that active all the time. I'd want to be like, right, you need like a 12 by 12. Here we go. Let's start.
So as a question for me, for instance, say I had emerald tree boas. Are you allowed to breed them through the zoo, and the zoo simply sell them to the public to put money back in the zoo? No, we're not. Basically, Anton. That is very, especially within Bayaza zoos, that is very frowned upon. There's was it last year or the year before? We actually had an online, must have been the year before, I think. Yeah, it must have been 21. Online ROG conference that I was watching, and there's actually a debate about whether we should work closer with, whether zoos should work closer with private or not, kind of thing, and stuff. And one of the main things that came up as an issue was money. We can't be seen to be making money from the animals.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And really one of the big things is, well, actually, exchange of information is probably the best thing that we can do. So, and if it was something that was like needing perhaps more on breeding programs that perhaps didn't do well in zoos but can do well in private, sort of thing, it's a bit of an issue type thing. That, I mean, the reptile and invert side of things are definitely more open to it than mammal is. Kind of thing. Someone that certainly came up with the I think it was Doug Richardson, who's like, what was it, vice chair of Bios or whatever, and said, it's nice that you guys are all, you guys are a lot more open than what the mammal side are, because the mammal side are very much, nope, can't be seen to have anything to do with private whatsoever.
No. I saw a question there. Zoos can move animals between zoos quite easily, can't they? That is,
yes.
We did that in the UK. Centre. We took
especially if you're, well, for us, because we're Bayaza and Balai, if the other collection is Bayaza and Balai, it's very easy. If they're non-Bayaza and non-Balai, it's a little bit more difficult and stuff. And there's a lot more checks that have to be done and paperwork that has to be done and stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, we if it was to be seen as selling animals, we would just be shut down straight away.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't have a leg to stand on. On the thing, that's not something that we can do.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we did at the Sea Life. We when I first started there, one of my things.
Animal side of things within a zoo really don't make you the money. They don't keep us.
Oh no, it's the chips and the ice cream.
It's cafes, it's gift shop. stuff. The animals cost, the money cut, for paying entry fee doesn't cover the cost of actually keeping the animals.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah, that's
like,
when we had a gold card at Colchester Zoo. Because we a few times we'd walk in there, it wouldn't cost us a penny. We at least had to buy ourselves lunch because I just felt bad otherwise.
And that's their markup is that they can mark up the food, and that's why food is always, people moan that food's always expensive in the zoo. That's because that's where the money comes from.
Yeah,
the selling of food.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, now I'm not saying that there aren't, there's potentially some places out there that are non-IASA, non-IASA that perhaps I don't know somehow do make money out of things, and that is a very much not a practice that most people kind of agree with within the zoo industry. And so yeah, any zoo where it's basically non-profit, any main players of money comes or kind of doing animal sponsorships kind of helps the thing. I mean, we think we're now we're an 8-acre site, and we're to be open on a day daily. Our daily cost is probably in the region of $5,000 to $6,000 a day.
Yeah,
they keep us going.
Yeah.
That's our bills. Kind of thing, roughly. And that's a rough guess because I know in the midst of lockdowns, they said it was about $3,000 a day. On an open day for the running costs, and obviously that price has gone up. I mean, our energy bill, electricity bill, trebled in price overnight.
Yeah.
Thing from $5,000 a month to $15,000 a month.
And during COVID, you weren't starving, staffing people to deal with the public either. There was probably a big drop in wages on that side of things, and it's just different. Yeah.
So and so. But this way, Anton, I think on a busy day, and this is all plucking thumbs out. I know years ago, one of our busiest days was like $10,000 in a day. But that's obviously people paying to come in, paying for experiences, and paying for in CAF and in the gift shop. So that one day, the entrance fee alone, if you like, perhaps paid for us to be able to be open, kind of thing. And then it's all but that's why every zoo has a gift shop and they all have CAFs. That's where the money is. So it's like, if you do go to a zoo, buy something from the gift shop or buy a bit of food or a drink or something. Yes, it's more expensive, but that's actually what keeps the place open. Not the animals. And the thing, I don't know if you found this in your time at the aquarium, but unfortunately, a lot of zoo visitors don't actually come to the zoo to see animals necessarily.
They don't. I mean, they didn't. They were, From what I gathered, I mean, I was looking after the reptiles there, and no one really. They just wanted to, because we were in an aquarium. They wanted to see Dora and Nemo and all those other things. That's it. It definitely, I'd say so. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, it was a bit like that. People were generally going there for to play on stuff.
Yep. It's not
and obviously zoos knows that. That's why they filled them full of big plastic dinosaurs as well. We've
got lots of those. Obviously this weekend's been quite busy for us. So we've had good weather over the Easter weekend, so one of our busiest weekends of the year. And full car parks, but where you're going to see most of the people, play areas and CAF. That's where you'll see most of the people.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes if we walk around to what the car park's for, but there doesn't seem to be a hell of a lot of people walking around. So no, they're all to pay every order calf.
Yeah.
It's, and he always buys from the gift shop, so sort of thing. Sorry to repeat what it was. So, BIARS is the British and Irish Association of Zoos and Aquaria. There's also EASA, which is European Association, which we're members of both. And then you've got WASA, which is the World Association, which we're not a member of because we're not big enough. I think only the real big zoos are members of WASA. And essentially, they're governing bodies, they're memberships. So Anton, think of it like International Herbological Society or British Herbological Society. You pay a membership fee, but then they kind of hold us to higher standards than local council with the zoo license. Have conferences every year on various topics and stuff. Lobby government for things and stuff. Like during all the lockdowns, everything in BIARS, we're lobbying the government of that you need to see zookeepers as key workers. Zookeepers need to look after their animals, kind of thing. Need to get in and stuff. Lobbying for to try and get money. The pitiful amount of money that ended up coming. I think it was 100 million promised, and only about 5 million actually got paid out. And stuff. It was like, let's not dive into politics.
No.
That stuff. But basically, they hold us standards. So you don't have to be a member of BIARS to be a zoo. You just need a zoo license, which is local authority. But it certainly helps if you are a member of BIARS as well. So generally, most of the best zoos are BIARS, and then the EASA is the next step up, if you like, and gives you access to all the breeding programs and stuff. Susan, last time he came, we bought some enclosures. Yeah, was getting rid of some old enclosures that were just gathering dust and stuff. So Steve came on and stuff. And then on Balai, Anton is basically a quarantine directive. So it's a European or EU quarantine directive that if you're a Balai license and you've got a Balai vet, any animals on your site have basically considered disease-free. They've been quarantined. So if they're going from Balai to Balai, they don't need to be re-quarantined when they're at the next collection. If we're getting from non-Balai, then we have to quarantine for however long we're told to quarantine for. So I've got some birds below me in the quarantine room that they come from non-Balai, so they've got to be quarantined for 30 days. If it's reptiles, it's 6 months minimum. So, whereas if they come from Balai, then it's considered, they've gone through that and they've got regular disease screening. So it's just a safeguard kind of thing for the animals. So Steve has asked, Jamie, was it the Sea Life Centre at Sunny Honey that you worked at?
Sunny Honey. It was Southend-on-Sea.
So no.
It's I don't know if that's. I mean,
Sunny Honey.
I never called it Sunny Honey, but no. Southend-on. It was Southend-on-Sea. It wasn't actually a Sea Life. It used to be a Sea Life, and then it was purchased by the theme park next door, which is Adventure Island, and then it became Sea Life Adventure. And since I've left, actually looks really, really cool now. They added some really good stuff. They took a load of laboratory. What monkeys did I can't remember what monkeys they took on, but they took some monkeys. They've even got like tattooed numbers on them. Was it the what?
Would it be macaques?
It would have been macaques. Yeah, that's the one.
They have like tattooed numbers. Labs. No,
pardon?
It's normally macaques that are in labs.
Yeah.
Even macaques or marmosets sort of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they've done all that since I left. They've still got I think the reptiles changed where they were, because I helped build a whole station for them and did like the barn kind of style enclosure for the corn snake and did all this stuff. But and we had a Morlot's crocodile there that I was pushing. That was like, guys, you've got quite a big species of crocodile here. And you haven't got a lot of space for it. And we ended up doing swapping swapping it with crocodiles of the world, and we've got Cuvier's dwarf instead. And so yeah, I hope I made a few improvements while I was there. But yeah, it was Southend on Sea basically, and yeah, it was fun, definitely fun. I wish back then I had like a GoPro or something, because now I'm filming stuff in the shed and stuff like that. But back then, like, the weekend I was feeding black tip reef sharks and stuff, and loads of cool stuff. But yeah, just memories now that I've got no footage of.
I mean, and we all have those. I mean, I have those things here. Like, I've got no photos of me when we had grey wolves here, of me in with grey wolves.
Yeah.
And like, having a fun, being, having two grey wolves kind of, licking my face off kind of thing. And stuff. There's no like evidence of that at all. It's just memories of being able to go in with them. So hey, Reptile Route.
I always remember I built a barn enclosure there. So we're going back like 8 years maybe now, and I built this barn enclosure for I think there had 2 corn snakes in there, maybe 1, can't remember now. Anyway, had corn snake in there, and I put some old rusty tools inside the enclosure as theming, and we would constantly get messages just being like, a builder's left their tools in the enclosure constantly. And I'd be like, and I'd have the manager be like, have you left the tool in the enclosure? I'd be like, no, it's like the rusty hammer that I found. Like, I've just left, it's supposed to be in there. And we'd had the public convinced that the snakes, someone's been in there and left a tool in there around the snakes. So that was quite fun.
definitely get there a fair bit. Totally agree. That Reptile Shed does great videos. Totally
thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy it.
And never forget it. Enclosure design within zoos, especially if you're doing stuff that is non-naturalistic, because sometimes you want to do something that's themed, that's a bit fun, a bit quirky, like barn style for corn snake or rat snake or something, or we done that either sort of similar, put like a milk, when we had corn snakes, put an old milk churn type thing in there and stuff, stuff they end up doing. And so just to make it sort of interesting. I mean, one of the main things we get here, not so much at the moment, like I've got one Xenopus frog, and every now and then, certainly a few years ago when they were in our African sandspill, almost daily would have radio calls being like, there's a dead frog. But it's not. I'm going to check. Because the day you don't check is the day it is actually dead. And it's like, Xenopus don't die. So, but it's because I'll just sit down, just float around for ages.
Yeah.
We had to put a sign up, we're not dead. Sort of thing. We like to sit here and hang and stuff. I know, London Zoo there, in the Roadhouse, where they got the, couple of, white street frog, that's Australian dunny, because you'll find them sometimes in the toilet, and people were fine with that. And then they done, the leaf turtle frog as a Vietnamese kitchen.
Yeah, I remember seeing both of them actually.
They got a bit of a backlash about it. Like, well, that's not naturalistic. I was like, well, no, was that one? So sort of thing. Like, really needed it.
London Zoo was the.
That was the whole point. Was like to be shocking and go, this is what this stuff happens, sort of thing. And if it upsets you, that's kind of good.
Yeah.
Sort of thing to try and get the point across. They did also have the because they put a menu up. Some people try and order kind of turtle soup and stuff. Like, no. You can't order any of that sort of stuff.
God, can you imagine?
No worries, Gemma. Cheers for joining.
Bye. That was London Zoo was one of the ones when I was a kid that really inspired me with the proper themed enclosures, in terms of like just displaying snakes in like urban environments. That you would find them in naturally, which is 100% the reason why I did my own in the reptile room, because I just wanted to build that again from memory, of my childhood, when I remember seeing this. I believe it was a rattlesnake. I can't remember what species, but it was a rattlesnake, and it was all set up like the side of a hut almost. And it was cool, and it blew my mind. And like ever since then, I was like, that's amazing. What a way to display an animal. Like, that's as natural as it could be, even though we don't think it is. Yeah, so when I had the opportunity to do that in one of the 6 foots with my black rat, I was like, yeah, I'm doing that 100%. Yeah.
What he does is what Wildwood in Kent had a kitchen display that they kept rats in.
Yeah, that's quite a common one, isn't it? I've seen a few rats in kitchens, and they definitely scare the hell out of some people, don't they?
As in, Bristol had a thing, was it around Twilight World, where they had cupboards with mice in it.
Yeah.
You could open a couple of doors and there'd be mice running around, another one with rats in and stuff. It was like, it was effective. And actually, honestly, I don't know if they still do, but they had it with American cockroaches in the cupboard. They've done like a kitchen cupboard. You could open the cupboard door, you'd see American cockroaches on the cupboard shelves and stuff.
Yeah, I do remember. I remember seeing that. I think Bristol Zoo were quite good at that, weren't they? Bristol Zoo did a few things like that, if I remember rightly. I haven't been to Bristol for years, but I remember going there when I was younger, and there was some really kind of imaginative enclosures.
So, hey, Rosanna. So, Drazilla's mice are in a doll's house.
Cool.
There we go. There you go. Aaron says Aaron is Jay's partner. And he works at London Zoo. Says Roach is in a kitchen display. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So, and sometimes, it is important to go, highlight that, these animals do live in, like I say, urban environments and stuff, and always going to be kind of around animals. That's what the thing is. People want to see animals untouched by humans and unaffected by us, but unfortunately, that's no longer fully possible. We are everywhere. Yeah, pretty much.
That's the thing. Yeah. We bunged everything in the way.
That's it, and then mind about the animals being there.
Yep. Yeah.
Collectively. So, what's sort of next on your next sort of plans with regards to your channel? Obviously, I think you're over 1,500 subscribers now on the channel?
Yeah, I'm almost 1,700.
Oh, nice.
Don't like to brag. Yeah. The channel's going really well. I really enjoy it. I've got a few like regular commenters and stuff, and people have asked to like email photos of things that they've built based on what I've done in videos, and that's really cool. That's really, really cool. I love seeing that sort of stuff.
I think that's sometimes the coolest thing if someone comes to you, whether it's contacting you via a social media platform or email or in person, say, I've done this based on what you've done. That's like that's all that when you've inspired someone to do something, it's like that's amazing.
That's amazing, man, and that's what it's all. That's what it's all about on this channel is kind of trying to show you, bigger is better and clutter is good, and plants are cool and stuff. But then also not just telling you that, is kind of like showing you how to do it in a way that I think most people can do. Like nothing in here is. If I mess something up, I always show it. It's never I'm amazing. I certainly don't have this kind of like I'm a carpenter kind of vibe, because it's all just thrown together and stuff like that. But I do hope that it just helps people out. And if I can help one person out by just showing a video of building something, and they go and it makes them double think what they're doing and maybe improve it slightly, then that's a win for me. And also I just sort of like sort of filming the progress that I'm doing as well, because everything in here is constantly changing as well, in terms of what I'm building and the equipment that I'm using and stuff like that. So it's just generally good in terms of new stuff that's happening on the channel. I keep mentioning it, but I've got the 6 foot builds that I've got to finish. And I really sort of kicked myself up the arse a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still riding on that. I am going to do it. But it's just backgrounds, man. They just these backgrounds. I look at the 6 foot background. I'm like, oh man, it's so much work. But But yeah, so I've got to do a background. That's all that's left in one of the vivariums. Background and electronics, which take one evening to get that up. I've got a system for that now, and quite everything kind of follows the same pattern. So yeah, that's a false water cobra vivarium done with a false water cobra inside it. He's currently actually living. If you see behind me, he's living inside a vivarium currently to try and make use of give me my floor space back. And then after that, and his vivarium, then that one I'll throw that away. And then I'll kit that out for a northern pine snake for the younger female northern pine snake, and she'll be living next door to her dad. So that's the one on that. And then at some point during that, I'm also going to be doing a leopard gecko build. So I've got a 4x2x2 leopard gecko enclosure, and I've still got the footage now. The footage is like maybe 6 months old of my wife actually building the enclosure. It was like we did a thing where Kaylee just wanted to build the entire thing. So we set a camera up, and I just sort of stood back and just offered a bit of advice, gave tools and screws and stuff, and then we built the enclosure. So that's just a box. But that I really want to do that slightly different for a leopard gecko. I really want to play on the kind of finding them in maybe like root balls, in cracks and crevices, and not just giving them maybe like a kind of rocky habitat, going down the more foresty route that you do find them in. Obviously, you do find them in the rockier stuff as well. So I'm not saying that that's bad, but I'm definitely going to go down the more oh, the duck noise. I'm definitely going to go down the more kind of foresty route with them. So that's going to be really interesting. I've just got to sneak that in as well at some point. And then it's just after that. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing after that, to be honest with you. I've still got quite a few vivariums that need upgrading, but yeah. And then, like we said, eventually I will be going back and doing the Boigers again. So that's another thing as well.
Yeah, and that's a part of him. Yeah, I just thought how you do your setups is amazing. So,
thank you very much.
And that's me, really sort of setups. Yeah, everything else will be like, well, I can do this differently, and you'll go back and rip out once you finish and redo it again. Then once you've redone those, I'm sure you'll probably end up going, you know what, I now want to redo this one now.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always that constant evolving thing, and as sort of new technology comes out and stuff. When you're very similar, sometimes like, well, when I want to add this to it, kind of thing, and something like, and sort of when you research sort of comes out about various things, and certainly attending things like the AHH BHS conference and stuff, which you come back with and go, okay, I want to perhaps I want to try and implement this sort of idea that I picked up from this this one thing. For me it was the snapping turtles eating grapes. I was sort of like, well, you what?
I actually missed that talk, didn't I? Because I didn't do the evening.
Oh yeah,
was that in the evening?
Yeah, that was the evening one. Yeah. The snapping turtles in the wild, part of their diet is these grapes. And I was like, what? So I'm like, okay, so I'll start chucking grapes in with my snapping turtles and see what happens.
Did they eat them?
No, they just sunk. But it's the first time, so it kind of means nothing. It's well, try every now and then. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. So
maybe what you need to do is hold them in your fingers and just wiggle them in front of their faces and see what happens. See if they take them.
I'll get a volunteer to do that.
Yeah, why not? So that was talking about the BHS conference. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was great, and that was my first year attending that. And I'm 100% going to go back next year. Yeah, I really loved it, mate. And I'll tell you what,
every single year it gets better each time.
Really? Yeah.
Because I didn't go to the first one they'd done, but I've been, I think, every year since. I think I started going on the second year because the first time it was in the education centre in the zoo, which is basically I think like a tiny shed kind of thing. Everything, and was like packed full of like, you know, they literally packed people in there and were like, yeah, we need somewhere bigger. Then it moved to the hotel from then onwards, and then this year was where we were in the other sort of room. I mean, when I first went, although it was 2 days, the first day was just little workshops here and there kind of thing. It was sort of more of a 3 day. Then the second day, the Sunday, was sort of more conference day, and it's gone from that to 2 days of full conference and, you know, real mixing zoos, private and trade, and stuff, and all together. But I think it's fantastic and much needed.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good mix. There's probably too many people there to do like you say, like do the the workshops now. I'd say because there's tons of people there,
workshops, but I think I outgrew the workshops quite quickly.
Yeah. But I thought it was really good. Obviously, the how they built Sydney Zoo, I thought that was amazing. I really enjoyed that. I'm so glad that finished the day off, because that was a real highlight, that one.
That was a good one to end on, and like saying, go, damn, I was kind of jealous and also not jealous at the same time, because it was probably, he said, there's a lot of stress trying to build.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's just spoil that. They'll be there 100% next year.
Awesome. That'd be cool.
And stuff, and every year I think it grows with amount of people. Steve Dory's thing to go in as well and stuff, and
we'll have to say hello, Steve. I don't think we did we? Did I meet Steve?
He wasn't there.
Oh, he wasn't there. Oh, right,
no,
okay.
No, he wasn't there, but Steve does keep reptiles as well, so he's but like, it was just, it's always, by the most part, a nice group of people that are very like-minded and very much want to improve on what we do and stuff, and never sort of kind of sit still kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's always,
what I found quite interesting,
off air, and we don't need to do anymore. It's always
exactly.
Well, we've done this now. What now? What can we do now? What there's always something that we can improve on.
Yeah. And what I found interesting when we were stopping on the breaks and stuff, there was a bit of like I don't know if you noticed it, but a few of the content creators kind of gathered together, and it was like, I know you. We all sort of knew each other from like YouTube stuff and talking to each other on podcasts, and it was like, that's an easy one. We can talk. I thought that was cool. Definitely.
So, and I think again, as far as I'm aware, one of the first years that there's been, like a number of YouTubers there, kind of thing. Because before, I think Liam's been there probably most years. I think he's been there most of the time, and Joseph JCP Reptiles. I know he was there last year, definitely, and stuff. But you always get, I know. So a couple of years ago, Julian Clare was there.
Yeah.
And stuff. That was an interesting one, actually, because that was back in the days of doing the workshops, and I was in the hotel, and he was doing a venomous workshop.
Oh, really?
So he didn't bring any live animals with him, but brought his equipment. And then probably wasn't a good idea to walk through a heaving restaurant full of people eating their breakfast with a bin with a big sign saying "Warning: Venomous Snake."
Yeah, nice. I used to do a bit of venomous stuff at their shop, actually. So, I used to go there. Every now and again, and help change the reptile, like some of their stuff out and things with Fiona and Dave Clemens and stuff. It was that was quite a fun time back in my youth.
I haven't seen Dave for ages.
No.
Probably, I think it was August last time I saw Dave. It was probably a bloodstock, probably.
Years.
So I think he still keeps a little bit, does Dave? Dave is a character.
Yeah.
But there's some great things. So certainly things to like the LED lights was obviously a very interesting talk.
That was, yeah. Especially when you had companies selling them, and then in another room a presentation saying don't buy them.
Yeah, I forgot it was the UV LEDs that what they're talking about, and it's all like then all the research, all the independent research going like don't buy these UV LED lights because they're potentially really dangerous.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
so
And the worst thing is about them, because I'm on a few sort of tortoise groups, Herman's tortoise groups, and bits like that. And you do see people buying this stuff because it's cheap, and it advertises that it's a UV heat lamp and it's on a flexible like gooseneck thing. And
definitely the worst. The halogen ones, the UV halogens that produce UVC. And you're like, you don't want that. But you type in Amazon, eBay, whatever, reptile UVB light. They're normally the first ones that come up.
Oh, 100%. And they're half the price of buying, a dome fixture and a mercury vapor or
so
a T5 fitting.
Someone who doesn't know buying those things going, oh well, that says it's everything that I need, and it's only a tenner. Yeah, I'm going to buy that.
Yeah,
kind of thing. And then the shop can go, no, that's actually really dangerous.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like that's just because there's just no regulation on it. That's all. It's all just manufactured cheap and stuff. And unfortunately, unfortunately, it's not just the animal that suffers, but it's that potentially that person as well. Potentially,
that's what we learned, didn't we? Yeah, skin cancer and loads of horrible stuff.
Yeah, so it's definitely it's definitely a lesson of be careful on what you buy and only buy from trusted brands. That ideally are UK based, or at least European based, where and look at independent independent tests and stuff, which Reptile Lighting group on Facebook's really good for.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything lighting wise. So we're 9:45. That's the time.
Yeah, I better toodle off soon. I've got to be up in a few hours.
So for the last I'll probably go around 10 anyway. But as we we'll start bringing us into sort of said, sort of plans for the channel. How can people sort of support you with your channel? So go and subscribe. I've been putting link in, but I'll put your links in again for the channel. But Patreon, I believe.
I do have a Patreon. This during this time, I would rather people spend their money on their own animals than give me money. But I do have a Patreon. I'm on YouTube memberships. I haven't really sort of done much again. But it just like the videos, watch them, share them. I've got if anyone wants stickers and stuff like that, I've got all of that on the Instagram. So you've just got to DM me and I'll just post them to you free of charge. I ripped off the Jurassic Park logo recently, so I've got quite a cool Jurassic Park sticker coming, which should be quite good. Yeah, I'll send you some. But that's it really. I'm on obviously Instagram, Facebook. I'm not young and cool enough to do the TikToks and all that sort of stuff. I can't do it, mate. I tried doing TikTok for a while, and all I was doing was just doing shorter versions of the videos I already do, and no one really cares. You can't really do a 30-second video on how to make a 4x2x2.
Not really, no. It's a difficult one sometimes. That one is more about sometimes some dodgy sort of stuff of animals, or like seeing some more things like oh look, I've got a tarantula in my mouth. Like don't do that. We'll definitely have Jamie on again at some point later. You know what will happen.
Oh, we should do this quite often, mate. And I've actually never done anything like this on my own channel. So obviously, if I ever decided to do this on my own channel, you would be up there on the list of guests, 100%. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd love to be on.
And it's what Fascinating Live. and she's going to start following you, which is fantastic. So
Oh,
Anna
lovely.
is Hertmania. So
Oh, awesome.
she does like large hides and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
As well as some small hides as well, but like a lot of stuff for like the big snakes and the giant snakes.
Oh, cool. Yeah, definitely. I have to check that out. 100%.
Hey Paul,
Yeah.
Paul might just put you, Jamie missed this, but it'll catch
Hey,
another
Paul.
time. Jason's put he's 41 all over TikTok. All right, Jay.
I just don't have. I've got it on my phone. I just don't have enough time. I'm just constantly just doing stuff in here and indoors, and just making videos for YouTube is sometimes exhausting enough. And you should definitely have Paul on, 100%.
Is that for Jamie's channel or for my channel, Paul, or for both?
Both.
Definitely. I'm always looking for people to come on and chat things. And monitors would be. Actually, he was at the AHH conference once, didn't you, I believe? Paul was there.
He was, yeah. The guy with the big hair and the shorts.
So, see you later, Christopher. Hope the pain eases. Sort of thing, actually. Oh yeah, there we go. Both, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll organise that, Paul. Definitely. Sort of thing. Nitron. And so yeah, that's only well. People, if you can, do go and support Jamie with either Patreon or membership if you're able to. And stuff. I mean, Jamie, much like me, I have both, and I don't necessarily push them out there either.
No, I mention it for about 5 seconds in a video, and that's about it. But and I'll be honest with you, that the money that is in Patreon and in YouTube, it's still just in there. I don't even use it. I'm actually saving it up to buy a good camera for the channel. Yeah. So that it's kind of like a savings account at the moment. But yeah, awesome. Yeah, definitely.
That's it. I'll put links in there. So we've got links. There we go. So do go over. The best way to support really is subscribing to Jamie's channel, watching videos, put some comments down as well. Share them around if you can, too, especially if you find one particularly interesting. I think Leah, you will with obviously all the Viv builds and building the Vivs from scratch and showing how to do that. And stuff which even I find interesting. It's not really something I do anymore because it's mainly inverts I work with in terms of privately. But I still find that interesting,
But it's kind of what it's another little niche thing I think for this channel is it's almost like you don't have to build the stuff that I'm building, but for some people it's you wouldn't make a TV show about it, but it is specifically reptile related kind of, a reptile related video that you don't have to necessarily, it's not crazy. It hasn't got loads of stuff going on in terms of, reptiles and snakes biting me and things like that. But you can just sit back, watch it, and, it'll be, from a piece of ground to a tortoise enclosure outside. And that's the kind of thing that I'm aiming for is quite like enjoyable videos. I mean, I did a whole 15-minute video on making a shelf, and I did all this dramatic stuff with the slow motion cutting and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just hoping, just enjoyable reptile content is the name of the game. 100%.
That's in James channels. All you need to make custom Vivs.
That's the one. Reptile DIY. I'm not going around people's houses and building enclosures, though. If that's what you mean.
You know what? You could be onto something there, though. That could be that would be a lucrative. That'd be.
I've had offers. I've had offers. I've had offers. I'm too busy building. Even my stuff goes on the back burner for a while, let alone doing other people's stuff in between.
But I think sometimes though these sort of things, you never know where it's going to go sometimes, and where a friend of mine used to be a manager at a shop, and now his full-time job now is that he maintains other people's fish tanks.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
and ponds and stuff. He'll go around, set them up. He's got a few customers where he does everything from his phone, and they pay him a monthly fee for him to maintain it. And he'll pop around once a month just to do some physical maintenance. Otherwise, it's some like marine setups, and all the dosing and stuff's all done via his phone wherever he is in the country or the world.
Wow, that's awesome, isn't it?
And he says some of his customers have a hell of a lot of money on the thing, and they're doing stuff, but like, and that's just his job, is going around, doing that, sort of that sort of stuff. So he uses PVC only. But I have stuff for snake stuff. Cool. Also, I've got a bunch of big vivs to build sooner than later.
Yeah, but I know he can build them, so I haven't got to help him with that. He knows what he's doing.
Stuffy ducks get him an awesome enclosure built. Go and watch the duck builds. Again, you will see is, might just be mallards to some people, but again, awesome looking enclosure for some mallards.
Yeah, definitely put tons of effort into them to try and not only display them nicely, I suppose, if you're going to display them, but yeah, went big on the enrichment and the stuff like that, and just having a massive enclosure that you can walk into and stand in makes a big difference to wanting to do stuff in there, and I've got some plans. I'm gonna do some enrichment plans with them, like hanging feeders and stuff that you can put mealworms in and bits like that. So I tell you what, these guys out there, they are trained to know when there's a spade in my hand, they're getting worms as well. I wish I filmed it actually, but they were. So I've got one run that was already built while I was doing the other run, and as I'm digging out and putting all the mesh underneath for the rats and bits like that, they are just at it. Like, come on, we know you've got worms in there. Give me the worms. So it's absolutely mad. It's so cool.
Ducks are incredibly intelligent, more intelligent than what people give them credit for. And they soon, they soon learn like what sort of can mean food and stuff. Like, was it last year we had ducklings born here, and we do most days capybara experience normally at 3:00 most days with dry mix, so just dry guinea pig food and stuff. And the mother duck kind of soon cottoned on to that, so she would come over the ducklings. So to the point that she decided, you know what, sod this, I don't need to look after them anymore. They know that they can get food here at 3:00, when they're doing the experience. So all of a sudden, she just decided to bugger off and stuff, left the ducklings, and the ducklings, they just learned, well, there's food here. This big purple bucket with this guy in green coming down with a purple bucket means there's food. We'll come running over for the food. Kind of thing. And they were just like, people getting the experience would also get a duckling experience at the same time. Because the ducklings would be all over them. Be like, well, there's food here. Kind of thing. They are
100% food orientated. 100%.
To the point that those, 5 ducklings, obviously adult, because this was last year, but they're still in the enclosure. I don't think they've ever left the enclosure.
They know they've got it good.
But they're just like, oh, you bring us food. Sort of thing. It's like, no, it's not meant to be for you.
Awesome.
So, the last couple of minutes, does anyone in chat have any other questions for Jamie before we wrap up? So, obviously, we'll have to arrange for you to come on again at some point. Let's have and see, what updates you have with the show and how the show's going. Sort of later on. We keep talking about sometime we will organise a time of because you're not that far away from me.
No. You've got to come up. You've got to come up. I've also got a when them 6 foots are done and the leopard geckos are done. I've got a friend who wants to do a really good like tour of the shed, like film it really nicely as well. I said I want to do it like a crib style. Like I want to open the door and be like, welcome to my shed. So that's going to be a thing, and he films it much better than me. I mean, I just wave a phone about or a stick, but yeah. So that's going to be cool. And why no monitors? Can't afford them, Paul. No, I don't know. Just never had monitors. I don't think because up till now I've only really had my biggest vivariums are kind of like 5 foot and stuff, and never. I always wanted like Akis and stuff, but still, I never thought I had space big enough for them. And then obviously now I've built this shed. I already had the animals to go in it, so there we go. No monitors for me. That's Paul's thing, not my thing.
Or Paul's sport, neither can he. Yeah, monitors. Even small species of monitor. It's a lot of money just to heat them. Just the heating of them. I remember back when I kept Akis, only a small species of monitor, but the heat that I'd keep them at.
Yeah.
There you go. Just if you ever want an Aki, he'll give you one.
Oh, thanks. I don't think I've got space. No. But thanks for the offer.
So, for me, the Akis are like for most keepers, probably one of the best monitors for most people because at least they don't get huge.
Yeah.
So they're a manageable size for most people. Whereas unfortunately, too many people that go, oh, I want a monitor, and go out and buy a young boss and not realise how big a boss gets, which is not a huge monitor, but also the requirements of a boss monitor.
Yeah.
I think that's always something.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, so any eggs soon, even smaller than Mackey's, just cool. Very nice.
Paul's the man. Paul is the man for monitors. If you if no one on here has subscribed to Paul, you should definitely and on his Instagram as well. Ooh. He's well on Instagram.
Where's your question, Leah? I missed it. Oh, there we go. I found it, Leah. Leah's asked, would you like to join Leah on a live one Wednesday? She does it. She doesn't do interviews, just a nice chat with friends. Might be fun and potentially show you some of the animals. So she does like,
of
like open mic type night things on Wednesdays kind of thing, where it's a whole bunch of people on screen sort of thing chatting away and just having basically a chit chat.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. We'll have to drop me a message on Instagram or something and we'll arrange a date for it, definitely.
No. Cheers, Steve. Steve just has put Paul Monitor's link in chat, so everyone go on to. Let me just double check because I don't know if I'm sub to Paul's Monitors. I'm not, so I will be now. There we go. Definitely sub to that. Cool. And Anton wants one of those. Just you to want green monitors, Anton. I think Anton just likes green reptiles. Green snail eating monitors. I think he wants one.
I don't know what species that is.
Yeah. Paul Sport snail eating. Not sure he knows him either.
He doesn't mean not caiman lizards. Like they are green and they eat snails.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Not a monitor though.
They're not. Yeah. Hang on a minute. Shall I get Anton? Stay there. I'll get a picture of a caiman lizard.
Oh yeah.
Arboreal
like a caiman lizard.
You're caiman lizards. Yeah. Arboreal and can swim. That sounds very much like a caiman lizard to me. Which are awesome too.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
And yes, specialised for eating snails.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're thinking of something like that, Anton, that's a caiman lizard.
Have you got them at your place? You haven't, have you?
Oh, I wish. I wish. Oh, caiman lizards. They look amazing. They look quite prehistoric, and the whole adaptation of eating the snails and stuff. And I saw really good water tegus. So, yeah, was it London Zoo? They done like a talk with their caiman lizards where keeper fed them in the water, so see them go die for the snails. As two interpretation people kind of compared them with otters,
Right.
and
Wow.
stuff. And there was like an interactive talk. It was a bit of a different talk I've never seen done anywhere else before. Whereas like one was telling you stuff about the caiman lizards, one was telling you stuff about otters, and they were kind of competing with each other and getting like you, the audience, to vote of which one you liked.
Yeah.
Sort
Yeah.
of thing, liked better.
Oh,
Kind of thing.
awesome.
Having to vote like which one. Of course, I was like caiman lizard. Much better.
No, yeah, definitely cool. Actually, because I think we've both got a fairly good fondness of the Biotope Gallery, haven't we? With like that YouTube channel.
Oh my god!
And they have you seen their latest video? They've just done a zoo.
They're another channel I need to catch up on. I've missed a fair few videos of theirs, so I need to catch up on some of their videos.
Their latest video is setting up a big reptile house, and the caiman lizard enclosures in there. Questionable croc monitor enclosure, but all the other ones are done really, really nice. Yeah, definitely worth a watch. And it's all beautifully filmed and quiet and peaceful. Complete opposite to what I do.
Their video, Biotope Gallery videos, are some of the most relaxing videos.
Oh, it's nuts, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
I just sitting there watching them build an enclosure, and you're just like, oh, this is relaxing.
And then I'll go into my place and just start screaming and throwing dirt around and throwing logs about and cutting them up with a electric saw, and it's just carnage in here.
So I need to watch them because I was recently gifted a tank. It's a mixed invert tank, and I've been gifted it for basically a year and a half. A friend of mine is taking him and his family. It was actually on my channel, Greg Dickens. To go and live in the Amazon for a year and a half. So, and ride the depths of the Amazon where people don't live.
Yeah.
And to do some studies and stuff out there. So he's given me his mixed invert tank of vampire crabs and hissing cockroaches and icepods and snails and stuff like that. All sorts. And he was all like, well, you've got to figure, he was like, it's yours for at least a year and a half. And so he was all like, that said, if I want to make changes to it, I can and stuff. And one of the things that I want to perhaps make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing if I can, because it's functional. Because the crabs, everything's breeding in there, sort of thing. It's a mix that I wouldn't necessarily have put together myself. I wouldn't have thought would work, but they're all breeding and all seem to be doing well. So can't really argue that.
Yeah.
But so maybe clicking on to Biotope a bit and Serpa as well and stuff, just to get some ideas, just to put some things in there, some perhaps some more climbing stuff and perhaps some plants that might work in really, really saturated soil.
Yeah, lovely, nice. Get your philodendrons in there.
It ain't big enough for philodendrons.
Oh, is it not big enough?
Unless it's a real small philodendron, because the tank it's 3 foot long by about 6 inches deep and about 18 inches tall.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's it's funny old size, isn't it?
It's there.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. You'd have the same problem I've got. I put philodendrons in my exoterras and they get like one leaf and that's it. I've got to cut them down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love philodendrons, but just not. It's got to be stuff that's fairly small and stuff. So I'll have to. It's probably a case of trying to look for some almost like pond marginal plants or stuff and that can. Anton just put, can he see your frog before you go?
Norwich, that's my name. No, you can't, because it doesn't actually live in the shed. So my milk frog has a 90 centimeter by 90 centimeter exoterra with a waterfall in it and loads of stuff going on. And I've got a video. I've got a couple of got one, maybe two videos on it on the channel where I mention about her and her enclosure and the build, but I can't show you it because she's not actually in this room. So sorry about that.
Right. But yeah, but you can see the frog on your channel, perhaps.
Froggy's on the channel, 100%.
There we go. Go to the channel, Anton, and you can see milk frogs they're fantastic.
Yeah, they're cool. And she is really old, actually. Not as old as they get, but we were trying to date her a little while ago, me and my wife. And I think we got to like 8 or 9 years old. I've had her. So not really old, but you know, a fair time.
There's a decent amount of time. And the thing sometimes they can surprise us just how long actually reptiles and amphibians do
and
she's,
live for. You know, she's still going mad for food and tongue feeds, and I can feed her by hand, and yeah, she's nuts. She's really cool. Yeah, Bertha, that's her name.
I like that. I think it's still at Bristol at the moment. It may have moved now that Bristol's closed. There's a standings day gecko there that was like 35 years old.
Really?
Yeah,
that's nuts. Yeah,
and they knew how old it was because of it hatched out in the zoo records, and the person who was curator for LVI at Bristol was the person that hatched it out at Edinburgh Zoo. So it's just like I'm going to keep it alive and keep it with me and see how old this thing will actually live for.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah,
you look online and everything's like, oh yeah, 10 to 15 years. It's like that's a load of rubbish.
Yeah,
rubbish.
Yeah, like, I've actually got a stand-ins as well. I was given a stand-ins day gecko from someone who was sold it as a first lizard for their child.
Wow.
Which, if anyone knows what a stand-ins day gecko is like, that is not a first lizard for your child. No,
not at all.
I've never handled it in my life. It just runs into a box when I need to move it. Yeah.
No, so I took on years ago Bibron's gecko that someone bought as first lizards for their child, thinking it was a bearded dragon. I was like, yeah, very, very different animals. Then it keeps biting every time we try and pick it up. I was like, yeah, we'll do. It's a Bibron's gecko. It doesn't want to be picked up.
No, definitely not. No,
don't pick it up.
No.
Cool. Okay, right. Well, we've actually gone past 10 o'clock.
Oh,
so thank you, Jamie, for joining. Like I say, we'll have to have you on again. Thanks everyone in chat for joining as well. It's been absolutely fantastic, and time has flown by.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
If you haven't yet, do go over and subscribe to Norwich Reptile Shed on YouTube, share it on Instagram as well. Watch the videos; they are absolutely fantastic videos, every single one. Obviously, if you can. We both have Patreon, both have channel membership. It's all optional stuff, and we don't expect anything kind of thing. And anything extra goes straight back into our channels.
Yep.
So, as of my next video is actually a mystery box opening that was gifted to me. It was an awesome mystery box, to be fair.
Cool.
So that's my next video coming out, which will be on Wednesday. When's your next video coming out?
Well, I've been promising it for 2 videos now, which I do twice a month, so that's a month now, and I have got to build a 6 foot by 3 foot rock background. And I'm gonna do it kicking and screaming. I'm building a 6 by 3 foot rock background for a false water cobra, and then setting up the false water cobra viv. That will be the next video. Yeah.
Well, that'll be epic now, seeing that. Rock works. It's a pain doing rock work, but it's always satisfying when it's done.
Yes, it's horrible doing it. Yeah, I'm not enjoying it anymore.
So, what's your release schedule? So people.
It's a weekend. I normally film it the day I release it because I'm really professional like that. But yeah, it'll be not next weekend, the weekend after. So yeah, I've done one. I had a video come out yesterday about the ducks, and then yeah, 2 weeks time there'll be a false water cobra video featuring Rock and false water cobras.
Good. Well, everyone look out for that. Ooh. And with that, we'll bid you good night. So yeah, thanks again. Please join everyone, and good night.